third receiver with Shane Williams, Rhodes gone.
Yeah.
And on the depth chart, you have Cedric Wilson up there.
Yep.
Has he made that leap up into
He
that
certainly
number one
has,
spot?
yes. Yeah, Cedric Wilson has done a great job since he's been here. Great preparer, very good student, and has been very productive in what he's been asked to do. The other guy, there's two other guys that have really stepped up, I think, over the summer. A.J. Richardson and Sean Monster. You guys saw Sean. Sean kind of showed up in the spring game. That's carried over. And those two guys, A.J. is a guy that came in here as a gray shirt, probably a little out of shape, and where he's at now and where Sean's at right now, those other two guys are I think, having a great summer. But said, yes, you've got Chaz, you've got Thomas, you've got said, really Jake Rose in that mix if you're talking about receivers, and then you got Sean Monster and AJ and Killian Butler. Those guys have shown up.
So with Richardson and Monster, do you expect the ball to be spread around more? Because it was real top-heavy last year.
It was.
More balanced?
Yeah, I would like to. Hopefully that's how it works out. You would hope that we can get that ball, like we have before, and probably more of our productive games, you have 9-10 guys touching the ball. I've seen those numbers and kind of how we disperse it and use it. So certainly want to be able to do that. And I think how we progressed from last season to where we are now, we should be able to do it. We're gonna work that way in fall camp. Now it's got to actually get done. I think that's the number one thing.
Was it look at the roster. Didn't notice anybody missing, other than Hendricks, Roddy, Jackson. Anybody not expecting back?
Caleb Hill.
Caleb Hill.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
He's
Caleb
the only
Hill.
one.
Yep, he's the
He
only
just
one.
decided to transfer, or was you
Yes.
let go, or what?
Yeah, and this is just recent as well.
What can you say about I know there's investigation and all this, but to lose three guys like that and just to have that
Yeah.
sounds like that had been going on for several months behind the scenes.
Sure.
What can you say
Yeah.
about that?
Well, first thing I'd say, one thing that, and I think we've done a good job of this, and we'll continue this, the education that we give our players, all right, when it comes to Title IX and treating people with respect, when it comes to respecting women, not only what we talk about, we have what we call Rookie 101 when every player shows up. These are topics that we cover with these guys. We have outside sources come in twice and talk to these guys about it. These are topics that are brought up. And anytime something ever comes on social media, it's a topic of conversation. And, in this particular situation here, the one thing you guys have the report. That's one thing. You have that from, what was sent out there and all that, and it's not always that way. But I will say this. We have a process in place, and that's one of the things that, every university should have, and we do. And the one thing I will say, you talk about maybe the process of it, it was drawn out and all those things, but Dr. Custra, to have that already in place, to already have that thought out, before a lot of these things that we've seen, with other schools come out, we had it in place, and that's a university thing. We certainly support that we have a process in there. But anytime that you don't have somebody return on your football team for whatever reason, you sit in their homes and all that, that's hard. These guys they're not just football players, all right? They become part of the family. They become part of this football team, and that's a difficult thing. And it's not just on the coaches and everybody else, it's on players too, because there's friends in there. But certainly there is a way that we will do things that will not be compromised, all right? And just leave it at that.
Were you okay with how, I know that Marquis' dad's been very outspoken, but were you okay with how the process was handled on Boise State's side?
I'm okay with, that we have a process, really. I can't really say much on it because we're not part of the process, rightfully so. All right, that is its own process outside of any coach or anybody else, and so I can't really comment and say I don't know all that went into it necessarily. I just know that we have one.
Switching gears a little bit, I see Dave's on Twitter right now. Twitter's such a big
part of the game these days? I know you're very
Yeah.
active on Twitter. You guys have a bunch of different accounts. Coach Rolovich is really big into Twitter. How
Yeah.
big of a tool is that for you guys?
Yeah. Well, you said it. It's certainly a tool. It's not a toy, and that's our message to the players. This is a great way to get your brand out there. It's a great way to communicate to a lot of people. It's a great way to send out messages, all right, that you want to get out to recruits, whoever that is, and you can screw it up like that. So you got to be very careful with it too, because once it's out there, it's never going to go away. And so, our conversations that we have, like in our rookie one-on-ones, it's a tool, not a toy. Awesome. Put your brand out there, promote yourself. Love to put out things that are motivational, because our players look at it, recruits look at it. You never know, maybe one thing that somebody reads might be that one message they needed for that day, because you never know what's going on in their lives, right? Also, to get your branding and stuff like that, you want to for your program. And for the individual players, hey, it's great to have something out there too that says, this is a little bit about me, I just want to share it. I'm not saying that you have to put, I add this many carbs this day, all that stuff. Some of that stuff's a little ridiculous. But it's a big time tool that's very useful. At the same time, I get a little bit torn, because I also think that every person needs that hour to themselves of just solitude of thinking about things, whatever that is. You need that time, and so sometimes you get away from these contraptions is equally as important. So there's a fine balance that we talk about with our guys of we're going to be away from it and then use it this way. And one real simple thing, especially in football, you come off of practice, and we've seen the Texas player tweeting at a halftime of a game. Just pause before you push send, right? Just take a deep breath. And if you're good with that, and all the people that are going to look at it, hey, fire away. But it's not everybody has to know everything.
When you mentioned the rookie one-on-one thing, you said people come from the outside to speak. Is it on different subjects, or is it when it comes directly to when you talk?
Sometimes,
Okay.
yeah. No, it hasn't been. It's been directly about sexual violence, domestic. It's been all of those topics that we've had come in there. But as we've gone now we've had some outside sources come in and just talk about if it is social media. Character, leadership. We've done that with our staff. We've had certain people that we went to talk about those things, and with our team. And we've had actually some former players come in. Marty Tadman came in this year. He spoke to our team. Marty's got a great story, and he shared that with him. And I don't think anybody in there, especially the new guys, are going, I had no idea. Mark Thornton came in and spoke to the team and talked about his story. And shared that with the guys, and I know Mark and love him and everything he's done for our program. I had no idea, that was his story too. So it's those experiences too. So yes, we do. We have. It's not just us. We want people to come in here. We want these guys to experience or listen to somebody else's story, and hopefully learn from it, and really take it all in. And you know what? There's probably still going to be mistakes made, even when that happens. But if you can maybe not hit the guy that makes it, but the guy that could stop him from making it, that's one thing. I did share, it was in the Statesman, I shared the story about the Florida player, all right, that went outside the back of the bar there, and there was a rape going on right there, and he was able to stop it. Good for what he did, and I share that with our players too. It's not always, there's some things that you can do as well, all right, that can make a difference, and he certainly did that. And I think it's not always the negative, it's some of those stories like that too, like look what this guy did, all right, he's not on our team, but he's part of this world that we live in, and what an awesome thing for him.
If I remember right, you guys had someone come in of the bye week, I think for domestic violence, and the David Lucero incident happened like a week later.
Yep.
Is it frustrating, disappointing from that standpoint that you are having people come in and talk to them, and some of these incidents are still popping up?
It sure is. It absolutely is. It is because, and let me just say this: these are young people, all right, men and women that are involved in this. That's the world that we live in, all right. We are surrounded by young people that are trying to figure things out, and so anytime something like that happens, yes, not frustrating. It's disappointing because you want to do everything you can, and you think you're doing that, all right, and then it still doesn't work. And like you do it with anything else, you try to go back and like, what could we have done a better job of? And at the same time, you also know that that these guys need to pay attention to what's going on there, and because people make mistakes. You have kids. Those that have kids, or they're going to make mistakes. And it's hard on you when something like that happens, and all of a sudden they're no longer with you, because that's life changing, and it's life changing for everybody involved in that situation.
What kind of